Well, hey everybody, good evening. I'll give you just a few minutes to get logged on. What a wonderful day. Wow, lighting is horrible tonight. Giving everybody just a few minutes to hop on tonight, and in between an evening dinner with some co-workers here. So yeah, we'll wanted to talk about $4 corn, and sorry about the lighting here. We'll try and get it worked out. But wanted to talk about $4 corn and really having a cash rent conversation with landlords and kind of thinking through some of that. We tend to get excited as farmers and spend money while we've got it, and that's one good thing for the economy. But we really need to think about, as we have $4 corn again, what do we want to do and how do we want to grow our operations? Last week we talked about being afraid. It's only $4 corn if you sell it, darn right. But you got to take advantage of some of that and protect your risk, and maybe that's by selling the cash and buying some options. But there again, you've got to be willing to really have that conversation and talk with those who know and check your resources. Try and figure out how you want to manage your risk. And it's all about not only managing your risk with your landlord, it's about managing risk in your operations. So, it's one of those things that I actually had the conversation en route down to St. Louis today with my marketing guy, and trying to figure out what do I want to do to protect not only 16 but 17 as we kind of have this rally, and what do you start thinking about? So you've got to really think long term and think ahead and really try to figure out what you want to do. But one of the things that I've had a conversation with a few of my friends, but how far do you go when talking with a landlord on prices and profitability? And I think it's fair that you need to think about how you have a relationship with your landlord. Do you show them the books? Do you show them everything? Here's the thing. This business is so competitive today that they're going to find out from you, or they're probably going to find out from somebody else. So I know it's not like most businesses to show their books and bear all their cards, and I'm not saying we should, but if you get them in a ballpark, you ought to be able to come up with a consensus that allows both of you to profit and make money where you really want to be. So as you think about that, I don't think you need to share everything, and they need to realize that you need to make a profit too. And hey, sometimes you got to be able to walk away. Sometimes you can't be afraid of that no, like we talked about last week. So I think that's important too, to understand that, there are times that you may have to walk away from a situation that, might not be so easy, but maybe you need to do that. And talk with them though, have that conversation, and maybe it's not easy. Sometimes it's going to be more complicated, and, but be transparent. And I think if you're honest with your landlords and help them understand what your goals and objectives are, most of the time they're probably going to be understanding. But you have to be honest with them and explain where you want to be, what are your goals for your operation, where do you want to be in 5 years, that you want to be a long-time partner with them, that you want to share in the profits and you want to kind of share in the losses too, and help them understand what your expectations are. And I think it all goes into really having a plan, executing the plan. And as a scuba diver, we always say you've got to plan the dive and dive the plan. And so it's important as you think about your business, whether it's your farming operation, whether it's your career, you've got to be willing and able to have that plan, execute the plan, and don't stray from it. And if there's a difference from that, or a divergence from that point of view, you need to understand why you're doing it, and is it really right? So, a lot like this $4 corn market, do you have a plan in place to execute on a $4 corn market plan? Set your prices. And if the price is good enough, then you ought to know your break even. And I'll tell you, when I graduated college, I spent a few years in the grain industry and worked for a co-op, and it amazed me how many farmers didn't know what their break even was. So if you don't know your break even, you're probably not going to do a good job marketing. know your break even, understand where you've got to be. If it's a $4 corn market and you can profit, then sell some, take advantage of it. And like somebody had posted earlier, it's only $4 corn if you sell it. So take advantage of this rally. We'll talk maybe a little bit more about how to, how to kind of set your pricing and where you need to break even at. But we'll talk through some of that. And I'm not an expert by any means, but knowing what your costs are, knowing where you need to be, even if you have on-farm storage, you've got to be willing to take a credit for a cost of that, because that too is going to cost you time and labor and energy that you need to figure in and calculate into that break-even price. So tonight I really just wanted to kind of touch on that really quickly. Is you think about having a conversation with a landlord. They're not easy. Last week we talked about not being afraid of the no. And you know what? If they tell you no, sometimes that's okay. If you are transparent and honest with them and they tell you no, or they tell you an answer that you don't like, maybe you need to walk away from that, and that's okay. Because you know what? There are plenty of people out there that want to work with young farmers and help them get involved in a farming operation. And most of them, if you've got a good plan and you make sense and you are transparent and honest with them, they are probably more than likely to help you out and get you started. So with that, don't be afraid of having a difficult conversation with a landlord. Be willing to be transparent with them of what you want to make and what your goals and objectives are. But at the end of the day, that boils down to having a plan in place where you know what your goals are and expectations are. You can share that with them and be honest with them. And at the end of the day, if they don't respect that, that's fine. But you know that you've done the right thing, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. And it as we think about how we were successful in life. So be honest, be transparent. Don't be afraid of that conversation, and go sell some $4 corn while we've got it. Thanks for joining Supper with Sean. Have a good night.